Hey folks, I'm Pastor Eric Tritton from Gloria Dei Lutheran Church in Hudson, Ohio, and this is a weekly word, and we're doing a special series with Autocomplete interview about God. These questions and topics have been generated by Google, and I don't know what I'm about to be asked, so I just ask for your charity, and we'll see how this goes. Are you ready? The theme is Did God? And so the first one here, let's see. Did God create hell? This is kind of a tricky question because most of the time when I think about hell, I think of hell as a place that is the absence of God's love. And so I do think that there is a sense where we rightly say that when people put themselves in a position where they are refusing God's love, refusing His forgiveness, and that they refuse His presence and His blessings in their lives, which sounds crazy, I know, but it's part of the reality of the fallen human condition. Then sometimes God gives us what we want. In other words, if people say, I don't want anything to do with God, then He says, okay, I will give you what you want. You have nothing to do with me, nothing to do with my love, nothing to do with my mercy, nothing to do with my goodness. And that's hell. And it sounds awful. And so that's one of the reasons that I think that Christians should be very diligent to share the love of Jesus with people so that they can experience that and want it. That we would represent Jesus in such a way that is winsome and helps people to know that He is for us and not against us, and that His desire is that we would live with Him in glory forever. There's another pastor that talks about hell sometimes in a way that I think is helpful in God's attitude about hell, and he says you have to crawl over the dead body of Jesus to get there. In other words, you have to really utterly reject Jesus to experience hell, because Jesus is the incarnation of God's love and His desire for us to know His forgiveness and the reconciliation that Jesus has won. So kind of a tough question and an uncomfortable one, but a good one. All right. Did God know Adam would sin? Yes, I think so. It talks about from the foundation of the world, Jesus would rescue us from sin and death, that was the plan. Almost like that was the plan before everything was created. So it wasn't like God created Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve fell into sin and God went, oh, now what do I do? I think He was prepared for that, that He knew that would take place. And even before He made us, even before He knew the pain and the suffering that would be involved with what needed to be done to redeem us, His love for us was so great that He said, I'm going to make them, I'm going to go through the pain, the suffering, I'm going to do what's necessary to not only create, but to redeem these people because of the great love that He has for us. Did God create sin? No. Moving on. Sin is rebellion against God. Sin is it's stepping away from His love. It's stepping away from His design for us. And so no, sin is in a sense the antithesis of God's love, and it's the warping and the twisting of God's design for our lives, it's a rebellion against our Creator, and so no, God did not create sin. That's ours. We did that. Did God create the Big Bang? I'm going to give this one a big definite maybe. There are a lot of theories out there about where the creation came from, where did people come from, all of these things. And I utterly reject the idea of unguided, this Big Bang that led to an accidental evolution somehow. I look at evolution and the Big Bang Theory the way that materialists treat it. And when I say materialists, these are people who do not believe in God. They don't believe that God intervened in any way. in the coming of life into the world or the creation of the world or any of that. And I reject those ideas. But the notion that God could have created with a big bang and followed the process along, I think in humility, I have to say, sure, that's possible. I wasn't there. There is evidence that would suggest that. For my part, I believe in a 6-day creation with God resting on the 7th day at some time in the past, and I don't know how long ago. I know that there are people who say very firmly it was, 4,563 years and 4 months and 2 minutes ago. I don't know how long ago it was. I understand that there are people who read the Bible and they say, well, that's what the timeline comes up with. I don't know that. I think that we have to look at our origins with some humility, and I think that we hold on to and understand that God created us. That's kind of the main thing, that He has given us a revelation regarding that creation, and I think that we do well to trust that. I think that Jesus speaks of a 7-day creation, and I'm kind of trusting Jesus. He's the one who died and rose for us, so I'm going to stick with Him. But how did God do it? We know He did it through His Word, but we know that He works through means. We know that He works through His creation to sustain life and all of these things. So I like to approach this question with a little bit more humility than I did when I was younger, and to say I don't completely understand what those processes would look like in terms of physics and chemistry, but I do understand from Genesis chapter 1 that in the beginning there was nothing, and then God created everything by speaking. And what does that look like from the outside? I don't know. Which I'm going to guess is a really unsatisfactory answer, which means that I've done my job. And thanks for being with me today. And I hope you'll come back for next week.